aren't. And I know that's a big thing that we want to talk about today.
Cool. Well, we'll get right into that shortly. I wanted to check and see if there were any announcements from any of the other people on the call. I see I have Laura Keene and Brittany. I wasn't sure if crime prevention had anything to add. Well, see, I can't hear her. I asked her. I could. Hold on, Laura. I see that you're talking and. Any luck with that, Mark?
Everything should be going through your system right now. So you should be hearing audio come out of your computer for her.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. She can hear me.
Can you hear me now, Daryl?
Hey.
Now we got you. Yes. Okay. There you go.
I thought you put me permanently on mute.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
We are currently planning a coffee with a cop at the University Area Command with the tentative date of April the 18th. And that will be for our deaf-blind, and hard of hearing community. And so when we have more information on that and confirmed times, I will get that out to the ECHO community in case you want to participate.
Yeah, since my office is right there, I'll be able to load up on coffee.
Walk out the door.
Coffee and donuts and stuff. Yeah, indeed. Thank you. I wanted to see how about anybody in the studio audience here? Anything to share with us? No? Cool. All right. Well, the one thing that I brought up in my previous echoes is just we're in the middle of the search for a new police chief. So I do have on my announcements there. I'm trying to share my screen, but if you wanted to have some input about the police chief search, there is a public sector search going on, and you can submit information at info@publicsectorsearch.com. Have I asked you guys, Van, Jerry, what do you guys think are important qualities for a police chief for Albuquerque?
My biggest thing is that I want it to be community-based.
Community-based, yeah. And like the idea of searching outside the city, I mean, how does that make you feel, sort of?
I mean, I think you should research all opportunities, because if you do get someone outside, maybe they have a background with things that have been successful that they could implement here. I mean, that's why I believe, internally, externally, we do all that.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely. I mean, we have a lot of unique things going on in this city that I feel like our police department has paid a lot of attention to. So I'm hoping to continue to have those things develop and grow. Things like the ECHO program and ACS and CIT and all that stuff, I feel is pretty unique to Albuquerque. So as far as that search goes, just someone who's in tune with those alternatives is going to be important. All right. Well, since I have Dan here, unless anyone else had any other ideas about a chief, here, let me.
We have had several town halls for people, and we're probably having more of those for anybody who does want to weigh in on the chief search. We had a handful of Zoom meetings and telephone town halls, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was involved with the Zoom meeting.
And just watch the mayor's social media for more on those.
Yeah, more opportunities, just because I think everybody's got different ideas about what we need going forward, and it's going to be a very important role. Again, we have Cecily Barker doing a good job in the meantime, and I sort of feel we're in a unique place with Albuquerque having both, all these females in our public safety roles, and I think that's a good sign for us.
Mm-hmm.
And you are able to attend in person?
Those are only Zoom.
Only Zoom?
Yeah, the consultants who are helping the city with that are not Albuquerque located, so it just makes more sense to have Zoom meetings for that.
All right. Oh, and I guess I got people waiting in the
Let those people in,
Let,
Daryl.
let people in. I'm sorry, people are waiting in the, I didn't realize people were waiting here. All right, I think I got everyone in the, who was waiting. Sorry, folks, I'll get rid of this waiting room business for us next time, so we don't have to have people waiting in a virtual waiting room while I'm chatting here with everybody in the audience. But we were just sort of talking about some options for people to weigh in and contribute to the idea of the search for our new and next police chief. Mike Kruchowski also dropped in the chat that there's a community meeting coming up at Gateway Center. I see other people dropping stuff, but the community meeting will be in 2 weeks, Thursday the 26th at 6:30. Sign in at the west entrance. Anything well, since I'm having audio problems, I can't ask Mike to share, but hopefully we'll get that figured out here for the next meeting. I just wanted to see if there was any other information that he had about that, but he did drop it in the chat. All right, well, let me end this here, and I'm gonna move on to our conversation with Dan.
Uh-huh. And
Here-
everyone can hear me all right. I am wearing a microphone, but is it going through the microphone or is it going through the PC here?
What do we got, Mark? Can they hear?
Go through that PC.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
going through the PC. Okay.
So I will yell at this thing rather than the microphone.
Well, the first thing I want to make sure that we share. Oops.
Well, I want to take people's back for just
Oh,
a
okay,
couple
go
of
ahead.
seconds here, Daryl. So I think a lot of us remember the tragic accident that happened on Carlisle where Kayla Van Landingham was killed. And that sent us in DMD kind of down a rabbit hole of looking at all of our rules for crosswalks, all of our laws, what a hawk signal is, what a crossing is. And we realized there really were not any robust rules for that. There were no robust laws.
Right.
So we decided that we were going to take a look at what we could do to basically strengthen all of our crosswalk laws so that something like that doesn't happen again.
Right.
And there are several good models throughout the country that basically say every corner is a crosswalk.
Right.
And there are places you and I were talking earlier
Yeah.
about, places like California where if somebody even steps off the curb,
Yeah.
you have to stop your car for them.
Right.
We're not going that far. The best practices that we found were laws that say if you see a road end and another road meet it, that's a crosswalk. Whether
Any
it's marked,
intersection,
any intersection. But not really an intersection. It can be, there's a lot of roads in Albuquerque that are semi-rural where roads just have a delineation there,
Right,
right?
right.
And those are crosswalks too, right? And then they don't have to be marked.
Right.
But we also realized at the same time that if we're changing all of these laws and we're updating them, nobody knows about it. So we are launching a public information campaign, starting with a couple of TV spots. There will be radio spots and also more neighborhood presentations like this to help people understand what is going on. Yeah. So we have a special sneak preview, just because Daryl is awesome, of our TV spots. These are the unfinished ones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we're still tweaking a handful of things, but you can get the idea. If you can
Sure.
go ahead and play one of these guys here.
Hopefully we have sound for it.
And that's a hawk signal there.
That day changed my life forever. My daughter Kayla was 19, riding her bike across this intersection. She believed everyone
getting
deserves
that?
safety, dignity, and kindness, but our traffic laws didn't protect her.
Are you guys getting that on the chat?
Yes,
Yeah?
we're getting
Okay,
some
great.
nods. Okay.
Great. Okay, I'll just continue with it here.
So I fought for a change. Now every multi-use trail crossing is a crosswalk. Drivers must stop. No passing, no second guessing. Stopping takes seconds. Losing someone lasts forever. Honor Kayla. Stop for everyone.
And we want everybody to start looking for that branding, that yellow and black branding for crosswalk
That day
safety. And then we got another one here that is it's similar. It's a little more fun, I think,
Oh,
than that one.
Get that other one up real quick.
And the gist of this is that we want to make sure that everybody knows that every corner is a crosswalk. and they don't have to be marked. And that's one of the things that we want to really impress on people, is that just because there aren't stripes in the road doesn't mean it's not a crosswalk. And the law now says you have to stop for anybody who is trying to cross, no matter how they're crossing. We call them vulnerable road users in City Hall speak, but that's just basically everybody. If you see somebody trying to cross the street, just stop for them and let them go. Bicycles, wheelchairs, pedestrians. I've been saying unicyclists, like any way you want to get across the street. And basically, roads, and how we look at roads in the city is roads are public spaces, just like a park. And everybody can use a park however they want to use the park. And we want people to be able to use a road to get somewhere no matter how they need to get there. And you wouldn't drive your car through a park, so don't drive your car through a crosswalk.
Well, I mean, that was it with the introduction of the Hawks. I mean, we sort of, as they arrived, it really did seem like there was a necessity for people to get re-educated as to what to actually do when there's a flashing red light.
Right.
I was actually surprised that a lot of people just didn't really realize that the flashing red light and those meant to stop and let the person there walk through.
Well, think about the last time you had any formal driver education.
Yeah.
You know, it was when you were 16, right?
Yeah.
Or 15 when you got your driver's license, and me too.
Yeah.
And so all of these PSAs we try to do at the city are basically driver education, anything we can do to supplement that. And as part of that, we are putting these new, we're working with the State Public Education Department so that all of these new regulations and laws are taught in driver's ed classes.
Okay.
So that the next generation of drivers will all know about these. It's kind of too late for us now.
Right.
So we have to watch TV and pay attention to social media and wherever else we're putting these ads. But for the next generation of drivers, this will be just like putting on a seatbelt.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you need a TikTok challenge, dance
Right?
challenge.
Hasiel, can we do that? Hasiel, our social media guys here, can we do that?
Some kind of dancing contest in the middle of a hawk thing.
It's actually not a bad idea. You think we could do that?
To spread it, real quick, what to do. Yeah. Well, here, let's
try the other
this
video
one.
here.
Do you have audio for it, Mark? Just giving. Oh, there we go. Okay.
All
here we go.
right. There's our
In
conscientious driver.
Everyone is protected in a crosswalk, painted or not, marked or unmarked. Braking only takes a second. Taking a life lasts forever. If someone is crossing, drivers must stop. For pedestrians, for cyclists, for people who use wheelchairs, for everyone, every crosswalk deserves a complete stop.
There we go. And so watch for this branding going forward. But then as of January 1st this year, those are in city law. And we have asked, and we have a bill right now in the legislature. The legislature still has another week to go. But they would make this also state law. That one, we're still waiting for it to get some committee hearings and go through the whole process on that one.
Okay.
But again, we are working with PED so that all the education aspects of this go through schools.
Wow.
And we know that, like, anybody who has kids would know this. If you don't put your seatbelt on, the kids yell at you, "Put your seatbelt on," right?
Right.
And we know that they're really the family influencers, right?
Right.
And so hopefully, as we go forward, kids will start to notice this stuff and say, "Mom, you didn't stop for that guy crossing the street," right?
Right.
And shame us older folks into stopping at crosswalks.
Well, and we've even had conversations. I have some of the neighborhood people up in Nob Hill who have asked about, like, adding crosswalks and that sort of stuff. So I mean, I guess what we've had this, but I guess stressing what really drives those changes. Is it the neighborhood? Is it accidents? Is it data? What really makes?
Do you mean to adding actual crosswalk
Yeah,
stripes?
just sort of like because again, I hear different neighborhoods that
Right.
want
And
speed
that's-
bumps or this.
Right. Well, crosswalks are a different beast entirely, and now because of these new laws, every single intersection is a crosswalk, and that's
okay.
one of the reasons we added that
Okay.
into the law. And so when people say, "Can I get crosswalks painted?" Well, we don't need them now because every intersection is a crosswalk.
So, yeah, okay.
in city law.
Okay,
You know,
so
when it
that
comes to
education.
speed humps and things like that, traffic calming measures are
Yeah.
a different thing. There is a Neighborhood Transportation Management Division,
Right.
and anyone can go to the NTMP page on the website,
Mm-hmm.
and you can fill out a form, and we can go out and do a traffic study and find out how many cars and how fast they are.
Oh, okay.
And then we want 75% of the, or I'm sorry, 66% of the neighborhood to agree to adding speed humps if it gets to that point.
Okay.
Yeah, that way it's not just one guy complaining the cars are fast, right? We all know, we all have that one neighbor.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but we do make sure that, you know, cars are driving safely through neighborhoods.
Right. Well, and along those lines, because I see James, and we were talking about that neighborhood. You had mentioned for the one-ways, there was an opportunity for feedback about those.
Our survey is now closed
Uh-huh.
on that, and we are compiling the data now. I think we had 2,300 respondents to that.
Okay.
And we're going to be doing some more work on that in the beginning of March. I think a lot of our folks are up at the legislative session lobbying for things like
Right.
crosswalk changes.
Yeah.
So as soon as they're back on the ground here, we'll be doing more with lead and coal and exploring what we can do with that.
And this Kayla law, it happened before, so the stuff that's happening now is new pedestrian?
It's brand new. City Council passed the laws in early December.
Yeah.
And they went into effect in January. So basically now, if a cop sees you run a crosswalk, essentially, it's basically like running a red light. They can give you a ticket for not stopping in a crosswalk for somebody who's trying to cross.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
I was just looking in the chat for anything.
I mean, it is pretty straightforward, right? You see somebody crossing at a crosswalk, you stop. It's not.
Well, like I said, when I was in Las Vegas this last weekend,
Yeah.
I was crossing the street, and I sort of wasn't really sure if I was crossing in a designated area, but as soon as I was in the roadway, cars stopped, and I actually was sort of shocked and felt that I was the one at fault, but realized, oh wait, yeah, some cities actually do sort
They
of
will
enforce
stop.
those laws.
Yeah.
So hopefully someday I'll have that reaction here in Albuquerque where
Right.
I'm crossing the street and be surprised people are stopping.
Right.
Because it definitely is going to take a bit of a cultural change here.
And we're starting with ads like these
Yeah.
to start getting people, like, you know, knowing about the laws, but also knowing it's the right thing to do for somebody who is just trying to cross the street.
Right. So let's.
We had a PowerPoint, but I think we've already gone through all the points in the PowerPoint that we would want to go through.
Oh, okay. Well,
Unless anybody has any other questions for us about the new crosswalk laws.
Sure. I'll open it up to questions or comments from anyone on the call or anyone here in the room. I'm sure we
Yeah.
got some questions.
Yeah, and I know that roads are often a hot topic, so if anybody has other road questions, I can navigate those for you too.
All right. So yeah, Jerry, you had your hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is confusing as to whether you stop or not, so like.
If you see somebody trying to cross the street, you stop.
Except it's not that way right now.
No, that's
Right.
what we're trying
But
to
but
impress
here's-
on people
but
now.
Here's an example that's on 8th Street, north of the traffic circle here. It's got a brick sidewalk, it's got a yellow sign with an arrow. Are they supposed to stop? Let's say before this law, are they supposed to stop?
Well, now you're supposed to stop. Before the law, there was no law that said you had to stop. But now that there is one, that is what you call an understood crosswalk. And we want people to stop there if you see somebody crossing.
Because,
You're
so,
talking about part of the roundabout, right?
yeah,
Which to me was already a marked crosswalk.
Yeah.
well, they had some of it that was marked that you had to, it said you had to stop for the crosswalk when they originally put that in. And then some of those signs went away, not fully stating it, and they just had the sign with an arrow. So,
Yeah, under the new law, if a cop catches you driving through there when somebody was trying to cross on foot or in a wheelchair on a bicycle, you will be ticketed.
right, no, I understand that. There's a huge confusion in this city. Like Darryl says, that it goes on. And I'm not trying to be negative, it's just the reality we have right now. there was another thing that was like on Wyoming, and it had like a yellow light for a bicycle crossing, and a person was waiting. And it's just like, it's not near anything, it's just in the middle of going up Wyoming. Are you supposed to stop for that?
Yes, you are.
And
Now,
people-
now you are. Under the previous law, those were lights that were put up to basically warn drivers that there are bicycles in the area.
Yeah.
Now, it's actually an official crosswalk, and you have to stop.
Cause I did stop for it,
Yeah.
but other people didn't, they
Right.
just, and you've seen
And that's
someone with their bike there for a long time.
That's
And-
one of the reasons we're running these TV ads. You'll start hearing radio spots and a lot more that really is reminding drivers it is the law and you have to stop.
Well, and that was the unfortunate accident that
Mhm.
happened with Kayla, where you know
Mhm.
she was in one of those crosswalks, but
Mhm.
the view was obscured, and another driver just continued through,
Yep.
and it was very just a misunderstanding and such a tragic thing to happen and take a young person's life.
Yep. And so under the new laws, you have to stop. And I think it'll be pretty obvious if you see other cars stopped around you that you should also stop. And so I'm really encouraging all my friends to really set the standard and start stopping. And the more of us that start stopping, the more it'll start to catch on, right? People will say, oh yeah, I do have to stop for that. You know, when we first started putting in hawk signals, like the one in Old Town or the one by the mall, people were confused. They didn't realize how they worked. They didn't realize that they were actual red lights. And now, 3-4 years down the line, people just stop. You know, it's great. The one by the International District Library on East Central, like that was one that people were not stopping. And now if you drive through there, everyone does stop for pedestrians, and it's great. And so we just want those kinds of habits to catch on at every crosswalk in town now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from New York State, so I go back home 3 or 4 times a year. They had them before, so I was used to how those worked on it. The one thing that was good that was on Marquette and Ford, where they cross from City Hall and everything, it did have a sign up there that said pedestrians have the right of
The
way.
right of way, yeah.
And that was where I consistently saw people, you know, stop because they knew. And like before now, people don't understand 4-way stops. You do stop at a pedestrian, and now they'll be educated.
We're trying to
you know,
anyway.
to do that.
Well, and James brought up, he had said this is admirable, but it doesn't work long-term if the city doesn't keep up with the basic task of restriping the streets. All of us, drivers, pedestrians, bicyclists, would feel much safer if street lanes and crosswalks were properly marked.
Well, every intersection, James, is now a crosswalk. So that is one thing that we're going to impress on everybody in all of our new ads that will be showing up, is that every intersection, no matter what, is a crosswalk. It's an understood crosswalk. And then when it comes to regular road striping, you know, we are doing our best to keep up on that. There is a striping season.
Yeah.
This is one of the great things that I learned working at the city. When it's not actually paint on the road, it's a thermoplastic. So when the weather has to be 50 degrees or greater for 8 hours for the striping to adhere to the street.
Okay.
And then there's basically just 1 or 2 companies around now that are doing that in Albuquerque, and we do our best to schedule them.
Okay. Well, and then just to clarify, Scott wanted some clarification, and you've said it, but we just wanted to sort of, I mean, it's definitely going to be a case of educating, but yes, now these not necessarily intersections, they don't have to be marked.
They do not.
They do not. Unmarked as well as marked crosswalks. All drivers should stop for anyone who is in the walkway.
And there will be, of course, a learning curve on this, and we understand that it's going to take a while. But we do want people to start paying attention now and start educating your friends, too, that when you see people crossing the street, it's easy just to stop your car for them.
Yeah. Although
And then there also are some rules for pedestrians, right? In areas where there is a intersection, you have to use the intersection as a pedestrian.
right.
You know, you can be cited for jaywalking for not using the intersection
Right.
as a safe crossing zone, right? And then there are areas in town where we do recognize there are long stretches without any crossing areas. I'm thinking like East Central, like between Eubank and Wyoming. It's like a
Right.
mile and a half, right?
Well,
And
that's
so-
where you guys put up fencing.
but we put up now actual mid-block crossings there,
Okay,
so that people
okay.
can't cross, right?
Oh, okay.
And our eventual goal is to make sure nobody has to walk more than 200 feet to get to a crosswalk. That's the long-term goal.
Okay, Scott, I see you have your hand up. Can you put it in the chat since I'm having these audio issues? Oh, yeah, I see people doesn't seem to. If you can type your question into the chat, I'll sort of go over it. There we go. Yeah, I just we'll figure out these audio issues. I apologize. All right. Did you have? Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Good afternoon, sir. My name's Van Owen. I'm a commuter and recreational cyclist and lifelong resident of Albuquerque. And I recognize the concerns of cyclists often mirror the concerns of pedestrians. So I really appreciate you addressing this topic today. Because there are some factors in play, and it's my understanding, basic transportation, there's some major tenets, what's called education, engineering, and then enforcement. And you've addressed a couple of those. And I've seen some changes in engineering designs in my community, especially for cyclists, that do
Good.
physically make it safer for me as a cyclist.
Good.
And then informing people, the education aspect, and you mentioned some PSAs, there's a bill before the state legislature to expand training for driver's ed, et cetera. So then my next question for you is, when can I expect to start to see some enforcement? Because that's what, just in my opinion, has been lacking. I know this is a new law, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw out some that have been in existence for quite some time. One of the big ones, again, I commute by bicycle. I use the multi-use bike and pedestrian trail system quite a bit. By city ordinance, it's a public right of way and it can't be obstructed. I've yet to ever see anybody be cited for obstructing one of the bike paths. So, same kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know that.
When you do see somebody obstructing a bike path, call 311 to get somebody out there. Call 242 cops, get somebody out there. A lot of these things, they don't know that somebody's obstructing the bike path if nobody calls them and tells them, right?
Well, I've called hundreds of times.
Okay, good. And I'm not the APD guy,
Well, and
but I do know that they're not telepathic, so we have to let them know. And then the other thing is just letting them know. Let's the engineers know too that there are issues. Maybe there is an engineering fix. Maybe there is an education fix that we're not aware of that APD may be able to point to for us. So just what I really encourage people to do is keep calling 311, keep calling 242 cops when you see something like that, and let them know that there is an obstruction. This is one of the reasons, I think we were talking about this earlier. We call them safety sticks. They're the new things that look like bollards, and we are putting those along a lot of bike lanes now. One of the main issues we've seen downtown here especially is by the DoubleTree and across from the convention center is that cars are just parking and just assume it's a loading zone even though there's a bike lane right through there, right? And so these new parking sticks, basically, that person will get a parking ticket in the mail a couple of days later that says, hey, we caught you parking here, don't do it again. And of course, those things will take a while. We have to educate people one parking ticket at a time is how we look at it. But hopefully people seeing those and knowing that they're there will stop people from parking in those bike lanes. We have 60 of those up now, several of them downtown, several of them going up the bike lane on Martin Luther King, and then in the bike lane on campus. So if you're a commuter to UNM and you use that beautiful campus bike lane that kind of circumnavigates the university, you'll start seeing them up there. And the long-term goal is to keep people out of bike lanes and also to keep people from staying in loading zones for longer than the 10 or 15 minutes that they can be in a loading zone.
And unfortunately, I don't have any I was hoping to have an officer today to sort of even ask about some of the enforcement for some of these pedestrian laws, like jaywalking and that kind of stuff. I'm sure it's not a top priority for them at this time, but I figure there'll be
Yeah.
as we get,
And
deeper into this centennial.
right, and they are aware of the new laws, and like I said, they were only put into law 5 weeks ago
Yeah.
now, so we're still working on more formal training for APD on the crosswalk laws.
And I had another question here, and it may again be sort of an APD question, but Scott asked, will APD change its crash reporting in cases of pedestrian killed mid-block from the universal pedestrian error to something else? Does that make sense?
That's a very, very good question,
Yeah.
and that is one where I would like to know from an officer
Yeah.
about that. Maybe next month we can get an officer to talk a little bit more about that. I don't think reporting and how that was on our end, on the engineering and engineering and education side,
Yeah.
we didn't address how the enforcement mechanism will work that way. But that's actually a really great question that I would love to know the answer to from an officer.
Yeah, again, I apologize. I'm still coordinating with the downtown unit, and there was a fight or something that broke out on Copper, so I didn't have any officers join us today. But we will look into how they sort of, are going to see or approach enforcing some of this stuff, because
Yeah, a law only works if it is enforced.
yeah, and again, just like with the education, they're going to have to sort of go hand in hand over time to really get for us to start seeing the actual effect.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking for other questions. Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
one more.
We'll let ladies first.
So, when I heard about the new laws, I was very excited, especially about unmarked intersections.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And that's a lot of us downtown. I know you're a downtown person like me. And, all of those intersections, basically anywhere, but all the intersections downtown, I feel a little safer now knowing that, like, cars should be stopping for me,
I agree, totally. And the downtown is actually the best place so far that I've experienced that. I think I had a couple of more technical questions. One is, I wanted to clarify, you said if you see somebody crossing the street, you should stop.
Mm-hmm.
And does that apply mid-block as well?
Oh, yeah. If somebody is looking like they're crossing, you have to stop your car.
So technically jaywalking is no longer.
Only at approved crosswalks, right? So what we're trying to do, there's also a law that says pedestrians have to use the approved crosswalks. So if you're crossing in the middle of the block, it still could be a pedestrian error. So we want people to know that if they are going to cross, just cross it. Yes, exactly. We're asking drivers to stop. We're asking pedestrians to go to the right place. We just can't have drivers stopping in the middle of the street. So we want them to stop where basically other drivers would expect you to stop for somebody crossing.
And I think with the addition of art, that sort of muddied the waters there, just because of the way the stations are. I feel I see a lot more people jaywalking and crossing mid-block, just because of the way that the stations are sort of set up.
And those now have flashing lights, and there are most of those have hawk signals
Hawk
now,
signals, okay.
and other ways to get to them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And we also made sure that all of the art stations that don't have hawk signals are less than 200 feet away from the closest intersection.
Okay.
Like I'm thinking of the one right over here on 6th and Gold,
Yeah.
7th and Gold, and it's right there by the intersection.
Right.
So we want people to cross at the intersection, not mid-block.
Another technical question that I've had in general about hawk signals and things like that. Is it required that the pedestrian activate it when they cross? If it's actually not too busy, they can get across?
That's actually one I haven't heard that one yet. The idea with a hawk signal is that it's supposed to stop traffic. If a person is just trying to cross there and they're just waiting for cars, that's actually a good question. Send me an email. I'll find out more about that, because it seems to be probably a rare occurrence. If I'm going to cross the street, I'm going to hit that button first.
Usually the hawk signal's there because it's a busy road, but
Right.
thinking sometimes So,
Mhm.
you know, if you're not in a rush hour traffic time, it would be easy to cross it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I was jaywalking unless I pushed the button.
Well, like for example,
I think just stay on safety's side and hit the button.
yeah. Well,
you know.
I related to like on Tingley there we have our goose crossings or
Uh-huh.
geese crossings or
Right,
whatever.
right.
But quite often people are walking their dogs or jogging.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm just someone who feels that if someone stops there and is clearly intends to cross, I should stop.
Yeah. I let them go all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's just good. It's just being a good driver,
Right,
really.
because the goose isn't gonna hit the button when they
Right,
cross, right?
right.
So I've learned along.
Right.
I've learned along there, just like keep your eyes out for a big bird. If
Uh-huh.
they look like, okay, slow down.
Right.
And again, to me, that's sort of what those
And-
crosswalks are supposed to do.
And I think more people have stopped for the geese than humans, I think,
Yeah.
in that neighborhood.
Well, yeah.
And we're trying to change that.
If you
So.
try to clean a goose off your car. Go.
Maybe another way to ask that question is, let's take the example of crossing on your bike, crossing the car line on your bike
Mhm.
at the crosswalk. If I don't hit the button to get the flashing light, and I get hit, am I the one at fault?
That's actually a question I would have to ask somebody a little more legally minded than myself to find out. I think we want everybody to use that button. It's there so that cars will know and cars will be alerted and they can stop. Especially on something like Carlisle where it's a 6-lane road, and if somebody's in the far east lane and you're on the far west side, you're driving, you're not paying attention to the road there. So the way you let a car know that you are crossing is to hit the button to trigger the lights, right?
Like, as somebody who's used those intersections a lot before these lights, one way my brain could interpret that is if I push the yellow button, then I have to rely on the drivers to stop,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to me looking for a good gap
Mm-hmm.
in which there are no cars.
Yeah.
So
Well, even now with the new laws, it's going to take a long time for everybody to recognize they have to stop. So we still want people to be safe. Just hitting the button does not mean the cars are going to stop still, right? And just like even you have a red light and cars still run red lights, right? So you still have to, even though it's a red light, you still sit there at the intersection, you pay attention in your car and make sure that there's no one coming,
Well, even that accident that occurred in front of Presbyterian with the child, it was
Mhm.
a vehicle that had started to stop but then turned, and even as a pedestrian or someone, it's hard for you to determine what the drivers are actually going to do.
Yeah. I don't ever want to imagine what a driver's intention is.
Yeah, you should, yeah.
Yeah, and as somebody who also rides a bicycle around and loves two wheels, I'm always of the mind that everybody's going to kill me. But I think these new laws do provide a little more protections, and it's a good starting place for a lot of this stuff.
So that even goes back to Catherine had put in the question there, or are there additional regulations being contemplated to allow jaywalking where there isn't a crosswalk within a certain distance? So
Yeah, 200 feet is what is in the code now.
200 feet,
Yeah,
all right.
and pedestrians have to use, if you're within 200 feet of an intersection, you have to use that intersection.
Okay, and I guess that would even go into sort of
Into
your
what she was
situation
talking
there,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, and for, just so you can put some perspective in your head on that.
Yeah,
Like a downtown city block is 500 feet.
right, so half a block.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry?
Yeah, so at intersections that have the signal lights for pedestrians, those have to be followed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
And
yes.
You can't
No, you can't cross on a red.
violate.
You can't cross on a red because that means the cars are coming and they
Right,
have a
right,
green.
right.
Yes.
So the other thing, if you see that a signal, a crosswalk signal isn't working, do you call 311?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I
and
did
those are
I
priority.
did one for 12th and Central. I called them also. Someone had stolen wires at the one that was on Central just before I-25
Mm-hmm.
on there. So every now and then.
Yeah, we love when people call 311 because our traffic engineers and our traffic safety guys are not telepathic as well, so they need to know that something is out.
There's
They get fixed quick.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah.
If you see a sign down, if you see a traffic light out, any of that stuff, call 311 and our guys are on
yeah,
it.
no, 311's been great. They've
Good,
been very
Good.
responsive, The departments and everything. The other thing, the signal lights at 10th, 12th, and 14th are just way, way, way too long on there. And I jaywalked at 14th last night. It was ridiculous. There were cars around. They're way too long. I live on 12th. If I try to make a left on 12th and trying to get to the traffic circle on Central, between waiting for the light at 12th, which is actually longer than the one at 10, it takes forever. And so you do see people jaywalking. It just takes way too long to wait for a signal.
We wish people wouldn't jaywalk there, but those signals are a special case because of the ARP buses, and they're timed for a little bit of different kind of traffic, right? So,
Well, even,
but we can talk later.
yeah,
My
even,
husband's a transportation guy.
yeah, even
Yeah.
Scott was sort of pointing out, like, you have the little notch there, Buena Vista, where the art, it actually created a notch there for pedestrians to go through the art, and there's not a crosswalk there, and that's actually one that I use quite often, but it's in the middle of the block, so.
Stop playing Frogger.
No, the ARC crosswalks are easier to use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do that too.
yeah.
Well, were there any other questions? I think we got through a bunch of them there. I know Dan's eager to go on to his next meeting.
Eat lunch.
Oh, and eat lunch, okay.
I have not eaten lunch yet, so.
And we're good here in the audience, everyone. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm still working. I got to figure out these audio issues so I don't have them next time. But thank you for joining us. And I will see you guys in a couple weeks, hopefully. And in the meantime, enjoy the lovely weather out there. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right.